What is up, everybody? It is your boy Javian Kendrick. And welcome to the first episode of Power to the People podcast, where we give the power of the freedom of speech back to the people. For the first episode, basically what I just wanted to talk about was what this podcast is going to be about. I'm sure, in my opinion, I'm the type of person where if I feel like I need to speak on something, I'm going to speak the truth about it. I'm going to back it up with facts because I feel like it needs to be talked about. I love having conversations about everything and anything because I feel like as youth and just people in general, that's how we learn is talking to each other and having conversations, even on the hard stuff. So that's what I want this podcast to really be about is having conversations on the things that are hard to have conversations about and even things that, easy to have conversations about. This doesn't need to be serious all the time. It could be fun sometimes, but I just really want it to be a platform where people can feel like they can speak. So for this first episode, I'm really just going to kind of talk about my ideologies. I cannot pronounce that word. And my hopes and dreams for this podcast. First and foremost, I'm sure some of you guys, you follow me on Snapchat, you've seen some of the things that I posted from my rants about, stuff with politics to, things that's going on with COVID. And that's me. That's my opinions. That's my views. I feel like everyone has the right to have their own opinions and views, whether you are a hardcore racist or, a hardcore person on the, left scale of the spectrum. It's really up to you. I'm not ever going to try to change your opinion. I can believe that something is wrong, but that is my opinion entirely. It is what it is. I'm not going to stress over changing someone's opinion. So, I want to have all types of people from the spectrum on here. Yes, even hardcore racists. I would love to have a conversation with you and indulge with that because I feel like that needs to be talked about. I'm not going to be hurt by it because I know I have my own opinions and I'm entitled to that. In the same way, like I said, someone else can have that. But first and foremost, I think really what I believe in is I think this world is crazy. This world is a messed up place. And the world that we live in today is difficult to live in, especially I'm not going to go into being a black man because we all understand that. I don't need to go into that. But even as a young person today, I mean, now you can look at current times, everything that's going on with COVID, it's a little bit difficult. So I think it's really hard just being young and not only if you scratch COVID, just trying to figure out not what you're trying to do, and two, just basically like, I don't know, just living. I can't really explain it. I can't really put a finger on it because I think we all understand at some point how it is. It's just this weird feeling that we go by. And it's difficult. It's really difficult. And now being young, we have to figure out not only, what we need to do, what job we're trying to get into, but on top of that, everything else is going on. Like it's crazy stuff like COVID, like how are we supposed to get jobs? And we have this pandemic going around that, we have somebody that we're supposed to call our leader, which again, this is my opinion, but he's not really handling it. Other people could disagree with me, which is completely fine, but that's how I feel. And then everything with the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm sure we all, we've been through that, we've experienced it. And that's why I want to start this podcast because not only because, yes, of course, Black lives do matter, but topics like that and other topics do need to be talked about. My second point is, to me, in my opinion, I feel like this world runs off of hunger and hunger for money and, the hunger for power. And I think that needs to be changed. I don't think as youth, we are the start of the change. I think our generation is the start of this change. But I don't think it's going to change like this. I definitely think this is going to be years, maybe generations on top of generations of change. Because that's my main goal right now is I want to make a change for the world. And I definitely think that this podcast can be the start of that. And the people that I'm want to have on here and I'm going to have on here eventually definitely think I would hope would have the same views as me. And if not, then that's completely okay, but that is what it is. I don't really want to go into my opinions on religion and politics, and, racism and stuff like that. I'm sure people believe that. I'll touch on it, but I'm not going to go too deep into it because I feel like I'm kind of like wasting not surprise, but, that'll be talked about in other episodes. When I go into religion, I'm a Christian. That's what I follow is Christianity. I'm not really hardcore about it, but, I do wake up, I have a morning routine of praying and stuff like that. That's what it is. Politics, I really don't like to dabble in it too much because I think politics is a game for like it's a playground to me. Really, is the government. I don't think any of them really take it seriously. I don't think a lot of politicians really. I'm not gonna say a lot of politicians. I don't think the vast majority of politicians care about the American people because, for example, I took American government in high school, AP, yeah, AP, I think American government, and the process of how a bill goes through government to me is a little bit childish in my opinion. But again, we can get into that in other episodes. I feel like, for example, if something, I don't know, for this whole everything with COVID, if a vaccine needs to be pushed out and someone were to make it a bill, by the time that vaccine were to be pushed out, half of the population could be gone. With the rates thing, maybe not half of the population, that's a little bit dramatic, but a decent amount of the population of the United States could be gone just because it's taking this long for a bill to be pushed out. Now, yes, the bill may be more prevalent because of everything that's going on because it's a pandemic, but that's just a crazy example I just threw in there. That's just all I'm saying. Racism, sexism, I am all for girl power to the women. I'm completely for that. That'll be an episode where we get into feminism. I'm completely cool with feminists. I would call myself a feminist. I'm all for it, but I think there's a line that needs to be drawn. Same thing when we go to racism and Black Lives Matter. I'm all for Black Lives Matter, but that is another situation where I think a line needs to be drawn to a certain point. We get into spirituality. To me, spirituality is not just religion, but it's how you feel, how you read people, how you come across people. I guess vibes. Like I think our generation, we talk a lot about vibes and this person gives me a bad vibe, this person gives me a good vibe. Like I think that's what spirituality is really about. And I'm a big candidate on spirituality, and I think that's also something like I want to talk about during this podcast. Because I think that's something that's super important when you meet somebody is the vibe you get from them. I've met plenty of people, I think, because I like to say I read people. And I think that first impression that someone gives you based off their vibe, it could be wrong because I've misjudged a lot of people based off the wrong vibe, but it could be right. So I definitely think that's a huge thing. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. And I definitely think that really helps you see what a person is about. It sounds crazy. I don't know if anyone believes it, but like it's a real thing to me. And like I'm sure everyone just knows. You just see somebody, you're like, I don't know, they give me a bad feeling. They give me a good feeling. So I definitely want that to be something we talk about. And I think I expressed on this a lot, and especially with everything going on, I've had a lot of conversations with people, and from adults to young kids to kids our age. Is I think with our generation, the main problem is that, especially now, a lot of people do want to make a difference, but I think a lot of people are trying to make a difference in the wrong way. I think the problem is that we all want everyone to believe our own opinions. People are always forcing their opinions on other people, and they're like, no, you have to believe it. There's no other way. I mean, we have people I used to go to school with. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to date you. They don't want to be around you just because you have a different opinion of them and you can't agree with them. I think that is a huge problem because we were all made as human beings. We're all made different. That's just what it is. It's seen that, different physicalities, different spiritually, different emotionally, different mentally. So why is it that we all know that we're made different as human beings, but just because someone has a different opinion as you don't want to relate to them? My thing is, as long as you don't try to force your opinion on me and make me try to believe what you're believing, I don't have any problems with you. You can say you hate Black people tenfold, and I'll be like, hey, man, that's good for you, buddy. Congratulations. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, that's completely fine. But what I'm not going to do is tell you that you're wrong, that your opinion shouldn't exist. No, I can try to have a conversation with you, because I think that's important, is having conversations with people. And through a conversation, somebody may be like, you know what? This guy's right. I completely understand what he's saying. Maybe I should start thinking that way. That's fine. But if the conversation turns into, no, you're wrong, you need to believe this, blah, blah, blah. No, I think that's wrong. A part of having these conversations, I think this is where a conversation kind of I won't say that turned into a debate, but conversation can be full of factual evidence. You can hit people with facts and conversations. Debates, I think you could also do the same thing. To me, I think there's a difference between a debate and a conversation. But if you want to say they're the same thing, that's fine. But I think that's where what we need to start doing is we can have conversations with people, make sure you back them with your conversation or your point up with facts. And if we can both do that, if at the end of the day, you still don't want to see my view, that's completely fine. We talked about it though, and we understand each other more. That is what we need to start doing, is understanding each other and not blocking each other and pushing each other away just because we can't believe what you're believing. I don't think that's right at all. And I think the last point I want to hit is the purpose of life. I know I'm kind of going all over the place here, but I'm trying to hit a lot of points. I think most importantly for my life, most in general, I think my purpose is, I think everyone has a purpose. I think for me, my purpose is that I'm trying to make a difference. Point blank, period. People can say the other thing, whether it's a big difference, a small difference, it's just what it is. I think everyone has a purpose in this life, whether it's, to be the, next Black owner of some big company like Nike or something like that, or to own a small moms and pop shops where you're sitting here bringing smile to people's faces every day. Everyone has some type of purpose, and I definitely want this podcast to make, because a lot of people feel like they don't have purposes. I want this podcast to help people feel like they have a purpose, to feel like you're heard, to feel like you are somebody, because a lot of people don't really have the opportunities to have platforms to come and have open conversations about topics. And to be honest, having conversations with people is really refreshing. Like, it's you get to say what you got to say. The other person said what they had to say. It feels really good. And I think that's what really needs to happen in today's world. And I hope this podcast can do that. And most importantly, I think another problem is that a lot of people, when they have these conversations, what they do is they react and they don't respond. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting has to do with emotions, and responding has to do with intellect. And I want this podcast to be all about responding. I don't want to have to do anything with reacting, all responses. So that's really about it. I have it right here, or I have this little thing on the side. And the purpose of this podcast is to welcome people to feel safe, to expressing their own opinions, and giving them the power of the freedom of speech. Giving the power back to the people, which is what I said. I'm always going to say in my intro, and I'm always going to say in my outro, and especially to the youth, because we are the change that's needed in this world. So I hope you guys are excited. I know that was really all over the place, but, I kind of just wanted to speak from the heart on that. I'm working on it. This is going to be a huge process. It's going to be really enlightening. And I'm really excited to get this started. The next episode we're going to try to talk about is we're going to dive into something close to home for people that's around me, the protests at RV, with everything that's going on. I want to have a guest for the next episode. I don't know who it's going to be, but I'm going to start searching for them. And so by the time this will be coming out, it'll be late August. We got my awesome producer, Nick Moke, the man, the myth, the legend, a good friend of mine. He's going to be helping me out with this too. We also have some co-hosts that are going to be on here, Emilio Ince and Herbie Ingram. They're both busy guys though, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. But, we're all trying to just play this by ear, because we're all, have stuff that's going on in our own lives, and everything with this pandemic is crazy. So, but I'm really, really excited for this podcast. I hope you guys are excited for it too. We got some big things coming, and I really want to make this thing a big. So thank you guys for listening. And this will conclude the first episode of Power to the People podcast, where we give the power of the freedom of speech back to the people. And I hope everyone enjoys their day. Take it easy. Your boy is out.